you start by telling everyone your name, your age, and where you're from?
Yeah, my name is Zack. I am from Indiana, and I'm 17 years old.
And you've been with us for 2 weeks now. Today's your last day. What have your general impressions been?
I've loved it. Especially, I think something that really caught me by surprise with this one. I'd done another one in the spring, kind of similar to it. But what caught me by surprise with this one was the freedom that they give you. So something that the other program didn't allow you is you have a lot of time to kind of roam around town here, and you can kind of get in the sights of the city. And it's a beautiful, beautiful city.
Mm-hmm. So you've seen a lot of the city. You've also had some new academic experiences, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So what kind of classes have you been taking?
So I took Modern International Relations, and that was taught with Mr. Clare, who's super knowledgeable. And then I took Critical Thinking as my minor, and I loved both of them.
And how have you found the academic environment? So you're taught in quite small groups.
Yes, that's very different. So back in the States, I think the smallest class I've ever had is 16.
Right.
My international relations class was 5, and my critical thinking was 4. So that was something that I definitely kind of caught me by surprise. It's much more conversational,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the critical thinking. The teacher wants you to speak up a lot more. Maybe not so much in the international relations, but that was a lot more knowledge-based. But especially the critical thinking, it was very, not debate-like, but very, you felt free to discuss with the teacher whatever you were discussing in class, and then kind of getting your perception on what you were learning.
So talking about what you were learning, how does the content of what you've been taught in your classes differ from what you're used to at school, for example?
Well, both of the courses I requested to take are things I could not have gotten back in my school. So international relations is a course that is seldom taught in like a high school environment. Once you get to college, you see it more, but it's not really something that you can find unless you go to a seminar like this one. And as a person who loves international relations, and that's one of the things I'm interested in studying, that was something that really drew me here, was because they offered modern international relations as a major, which a lot of other places, didn't. But at the same time, what I've been learning was also very different in the way it was taught, I guess. So as I said earlier, it was very conversational. But compared to my teachers back at home, I felt very free to just kind of to share as I was going, rather than raise my hand and wait a good 10-15 minutes before the teacher happens to see me in the back of the class, and then go back to something from much earlier. It's much easier to understand the material in that small of a frame.
And you've talked about what you're thinking about studying later. You're one of our older students on the course.
Yeah.
So do you think the course has done anything to prepare you for the next step?
Absolutely. Well, it's definitely much more college-like. So you have longer seminars. So each class was 2 hours long for the major, hour long for the minor, and then you had your 3-hour elective. But even then, it was definitely a much more not drawn out. That makes it sound, but it's not like the 40-minute cookie cutter. You go from one class to the next class, to the next class, to the next class. It was where you had a longer span of time. You're learning material, so you could kind of get through, especially in international relations where you have pretty complex stuff. You could get through all of it in one period, rather than worrying about cutting it off and then going back and relearning some of it and keeping on going, which I thought was nice.
And I suppose the smaller class sizes help with that as well.
That helps a lot.
Yeah.
Smaller class size is definitely something that, now that I've had such a small class size here, it's definitely something I'm going to be considering as I apply to college this upcoming year. It'll definitely probably deter me a little more from like the large college experience in the U.S., which is the majority of the college experience in the U.S.
So that's quite an important shift then. What about outside of your classes? Has there been anything that's maybe grabbed you from the elective options or the excursions, the evening program of activities that you thought kind of have maybe altered your perception of university study?
I'd say so. The elective is what I love to do. So my elective was creative writing, and creative writing is one of my greatest passions. As far as kind of preparing me for university study, it was definitely much more free. So you were free to, like, we had a class where for our creative writing where we went to a Jane Austen exhibit, and then we wrote in the cafe next to the Jane Austen exhibit. You weren't set in your classroom, you were kind of free to travel around the town a bit, and you didn't necessarily feel stuck waiting for a bell at the end of the course.
So that exhibition was in the Western Library, one of Oxford's libraries. What's life in Oxford been like?
Different but the same.
Okay.
I love cities,
Yeah.
so it's kind of even though Oxford isn't that big, it kind of has the feel of a city, at least towards the center. So it's got kind of a little bit of that same rustle and bustle, but it also has a lot of just the history to it too, which I think is something that caught me by surprise. St. Edmunds has it a bit, but some of the other colleges especially. Christ Church is gorgeous. If you go to the Meadow at Christ Church and walk around there for a while.
It's very popular, the Meadow. Yeah. What's life in St. Edmund Hall been like then? So it is one of the smaller colleges.
Yeah. Well, St. Edmunds is still very beautiful. I mean, the quad is great. Don't walk on the grass. But I mean, it's still been a great time here too. Plus, I got to meet some fantastic friends. My roommate Birkin will probably be a friend for life.
Yeah.
You get to make friends with people on your floor, which is always great. I got to make a lot of friends that were girls too. I shouldn't just exclude them as well.
Yeah.
I got to meet a ton of people I wouldn't have gotten to meet. And I think that's always the toughest thing with camps like this, is then after 2 weeks you've made these great friendships and now you're saying goodbye.
Yeah. It will be, I think tonight will be quite a sad
Yes.
night. So looking back on the last 2 weeks, if you could pick one standout moment from the last 2 weeks, what would it be?
Oof. That's a toughie. You're putting me on the spot. I liked the punting trip. The punting trip was fun,
Okay.
but maybe not for the right reasons.
Right?
Our punting was an experience. So the punting, you do it yourself.
Yes.
So punting, for people that don't know, is you have a long stick, and you're in a boat, and you're pushing the bottom of the river. Or I guess it's probably not a river, but either way, that wasn't really working for us. And we ended up getting the boat flipped around, so then we were punting backwards, but it was
Right.
functioning much better. FYI, we came in first place.
Well, there you go, it worked.
So, if punting is a race, we won. If you consider it that way.
Well, we like winners here at Oxford.
Exactly.
Thank you very much, Zack. It's been great to hear how good an experience you've had.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.